Oh,
yeah.
I am so glad we got this done.
It's never happened to me before. I feel like anytime I've ever like requested,
Yeah.
it's not.
Okay. So it's basically, I have
Yeah.
this issue consistently, but you're
Yeah.
here and it's right on time. So welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to our live. I'm so excited to have you. For guys who don't know Justina, but she's a super passionate PETA activist. She's also one of the two of the Green Goddesses. She's been nominated for TV awards along with Ginny Kamel, so she's right up there. And she is super passionate and emotional about the cause. And I am so honored to have you. Justina, please introduce yourself.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on here just to speak about so much, probably. We won't even get to the surface of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm an animal activist.
Yeah.
I try to work with whoever, wants to shed light to animal rights
Yeah.
because we're all in this together.
Yeah.
I'm also an actress and a fur mom of four.
Woo!
Definitely have to say that. I feel like
Wow.
I am a mother. I have two cats, two dogs, and very pridefully, I've rescued all of them from the
Awesome.
street. So,
And
yeah.
you live in New York,
I live
and
in New York.
that's an achievement when you're living with so many furry babies in the New York apartment. I've lived there before. I know how that goes.
Crazy, crazy. I'm like, wow, I chose this life.
So, Justina, to deep dive in, what was your trigger? How did you turn vegan?
Oh my goodness. I like to reflect on how I turned into veganism as a journey because
Right.
it started off when I was very young. I've been animal obsessed. Like
Oh,
I am that person that is always distracted if there's an animal around me. And so like I kind of noticed that like, oh my God, I care about animals than most people, it seems,
yeah.
and then when I was young, I started to get like little moments of like realizing that's what we were eating. We were eating animals.
Right.
But I was always conditioned into accepting that that's just what it is.
Mm.
And it wasn't until high school where I don't even remember what we were watching in school. I was the only one crying in my class,
Yeah.
and it was a sort of like, animal exploitive
Was it a
film
movie?
about,
Like a
yeah,
movie,
it
a
had to be a
documentary?
movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they were
And I was
showing
like,
that in
that's
school.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Or maybe there was just a moment of that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I couldn't get over it. And I was like, okay, I have the choice. And that was back when I was like 15. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm going vegetarian. And I
Awesome.
didn't realize how difficult it was going to be to
Correct.
make those decisions while still living at home. And it,
Correct.
it took a lot of like isolation,
Yeah.
trial and error, and
Mm.
really testing my morals. And it wasn't until like I was like 27, I think 2017, 2018,
Yeah.
where I was like, enough is enough.
Right.
If I love animals, why would I even like
You
find an excuse?
transition fully.
Yeah, that's when
Right.
I transitioned fully. And then
Yeah.
fully as in like my food. And then I was like, oh my God, the glue to these shoes. What in the world? And like it just escalated and
Yeah.
haven't
So you
looked
went
back.
into the fashion element as well. Guys, feel free to write questions in, anything that you want just respond to. If you're a new activist or if you're just here to understand the journey or any choices that you should be making, please feel free to drop in your questions. We'll get through all of them. So that was really nice because I think all of us start as omnis. It's normal. And we all at some point see something that really disturbs us. I used to
Mhm.
pass an live animal wet market,
Mm.
which was traumatic for me at the age of 18. I turned vegetarian.
Oh.
Coming from a Puerto Rican household, that must have been really tough because food on the plate is what you transition. How did you manage and how did you manage with that? How did you manage that really?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like my mom was very like, yeah, okay, that's what you want to do. But then there was like little pieces of pig in rice, and I'm like, why?
Yeah,
This like so easily doesn't have to be.
right.
And you
She
know,
probably thought you won't get enough, like you won't be
she's like,
healthy
you
enough.
just take it out. You know, like my grandmother later on would be like, you just take it out. And I'm like, no, no,
Right.
you know, and, you know, my family always wanted to support me. I just don't think they knew
How?
how and like
Right.
how serious I wanted to be about it.
Yeah.
So it took me having to decide to not go to certain holiday parties with my
Correct.
family because I was also addicted to food. I was realizing like most of us are, we just
Most of
don't.
us are.
Right, we just don't talk about it, you know, and
Correct.
it was
Yeah.
something it's something we are facing every single day with having to make a choice with what do we eat? And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm addicted to food because like why is my love for animals so strong yet I cave to eat something like a temporary little moment and it's like their whole lives." So it took me like separating from my family and like making sure like I was convicted in my
Yeah.
morals no matter what, you know, like I fully transitioned.
Okay. Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about green goddesses, right?
Okay.
How did that come about with Jamie Logan, who we love? She's another PETA activist. I mean, you guys are like two of my favorite activists. So how did that come about? And tell us a little bit about the success you've had earlier this year.
Yeah, well, Jane from Unchained TV, she's just a brilliant mind. She's a brilliant creative, and she every time I saw her, she was like, "We need to do a reality show of you," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"What the heck? I don't want so much attention on my life." I'm like, that's excessive. I was like, but it would be cool if like there were multiple activists
Mm.
and she was like, yeah. And, you know, Jamie and I, we've done so many things together. I was like, Jamie, let's do a reality show together. Jane wants to produce it on Unchained. And Jamie's like, okay, totally. So we worked out some time and we did that. We did it in one day. And it was basically just highlighting the life of an animal activist in the city.
Mm.
And we're just two individuals that happened to be animal activists, which is basically my goal as an
Yeah.
animal activist, especially now more than ever. Like, I just want it to be cool to care,
Correct.
cool to have compassion, and without any major budget, without any expectations,
Mm.
without anything, Jane, you know, submitted us to any sort of film. Um, Festival
Correct.
awards
Awards.
situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we got nominated for a Webby Award.
Yeah.
And without even knowing, we made
Yeah.
top five out of 13,000 submissions,
Right.
running second against Jimmy Fallon. And we were
I think
like,
that was freaking fantastic.
I remember seeing that. And I was like, what's a Webby
Who's it?
Award?
Jimmy Fallon. I got it wrong. I thought it was Jimmy Kimmel. Okay, fine.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Too many Jimmys. My
Yeah.
dad is a Jimmy as well.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it was crazy. I was like, what is this? What is a
Yeah.
Webby Award? And then we also got nominated for a Telly Award, which is like their sister festival when it comes
Okay. I
to
think that's
film.
really fun way of making activism very relatable, very fun. And I think that's like the best kind of activism because I think the amount of awareness you guys built with that was just on another level compared to the regular ones. Because even with the PETA campaigns, you guys build a lot of awareness.
Hmm.
And I think this one was just so much more fun and,
For
identified and
sure.
relatable.
Yeah, because I, I think it just shows like the BTS of what
Yeah, correct.
happens
Correct.
on these big campaigns where you see people painted or
Yeah.
doing a disruption or, you know, it shows kind of like from our morning until after and like
Okay.
the trials and tribulations that go on with
Yeah.
having an action like that happen.
Yeah.
And so what we're doing might look crazy to
Yeah.
outsiders, but
Yeah.
what we're actually talking about is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Uh, and it takes a
I
lot of vulnerability to do it, you know?
I think it takes a lot of courage to do it as well. right?
For
And I
sure.
think both of you ladies are queens when it comes to courage. So thank you for your service.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
let's talk about your podcast that you guys do with Jamie. You guys have done, and you sat down with Alexis Gutierrez, right? He used to be a Michelin star chef, and he basically converted into vegan restaurant here in Soho in London. Talk a little bit about that interview and what really brought you to tears, because I saw that little clip in and I said, okay, she really is an empath. A lot
Yeah.
like me.
You're like saying this, and I'm like, oh Lord, I'm gonna start crying right now. Well, Alexis, I've been following him for a while,
Yeah.
and Jamie and I, we curate everything, and I used to date someone who is French, and so
Okay.
I used to go to France like every summer, and was very submerged in the French culture. So it was very important to me
Yeah.
that I had someone who was French, an animal activist, and
Yeah.
making an impact on the culinary arts culture.
Awesome.
And I always saw Alexis his videos. He was always so like entertaining and educational, and I was like, Jamie,
Yes.
we need to get this man on here, please. We need to
Yes.
let's get him on. And she's like, yeah, let's get him on. And when he accepted, I was like so thrilled, and like to hear his journey um into how he's transformed his whole career
Mhm.
just like moved me, and just kind of showed like an alternative um story of how activism pushed him into creating change, because I do believe that we need everyone to do their part. So whether that's loud, whether that's quiet, whether that's funny, whether that's through fashion, whether that's through cinema, like we all play a part. And
Yes.
he was already in that world, and he
Correct.
decided, okay, in this world with the talents that I have,
Yeah.
the gifts that I was given, I'm going to make a difference and educate the people,
Correct.
and it just made me, I'm like, I wish I had this interview like 5 years ago. Like it's
Yeah.
just so helpful when people from different cultures stand up and show their communities that, like,
Right.
hey,
But
culture
Justina,
has something to do with it.
what made you cry?
What made me cry was his courage and his and
Correct.
his and
Grit.
his unwavering conviction. I was just
Yeah.
like, oh, I love when people are passionate and
Yes.
they just are super unapologetic
Yeah.
when it comes to just, especially when it comes to animals. I'm like,
Correct.
yes,
Yes. So,
you
guys,
know?
just a little background. She did a podcast interview with this Alexis Gutierrez, who runs a Michelin star restaurant, and he listened to somebody talk, protest outside his restaurant about foie gras, about him
Yeah.
using it, and then he went out and heard their side of the story, and then he read a book about it, and he realized he couldn't do it. So to take something that profitable and Michelin star restaurant and to convert it into vegan doesn't require courage and grit. It requires like vibration at a much higher level, where as a person you're ready to put everything on the line to make a difference. And these are the level of people that are actually changing the world without any standing ovations, and that is what makes it so amazing.
Right. He had no idea what was going to happen, and he put his whole livelihood on the line
Correct.
to stand up for animals and be completely, like, feeling completely guilt-free about his actions and
Yes.
the way he profits, which is beautiful.
Yes, I think that's awesome, and I love the way you guys interviewed him. I resonate with that because that's something I've done with LaBante London. It's from the get go been
100%.
sustainable and cruelty free, and that's always been the policy that we will not do any animal harm because you don't need to do it. You just don't. There's so much better technology which allows you to make bags and shoes and everything, jackets without touching
100%.
animals. Yeah.
I mean, you are doing it. Look at this bag. It's like durable, and
Oh,
I love it. It's like my go-to bag, and
yeah.
everyone's like, "Oh, nice bag." And then
Oh,
I'm like,
that's my
"Oh yeah, it's vegan." I'm like, it's vegan, just so you know."
I feel very proud when you guys carry the bags because I think it's important to show the world. And I'm so glad that we're associated with you. So thank you for that. In terms of your activism and you've had a struggle also with mental health and you've taken a lot of courageous stand around that. Can you tell me a little bit more of what's going through your mind? Because you're quite a lot in public light now, right?
Mhm.
So how it must have not have been easy. So talk me through that because I would also like other people who want to be activists to learn and understand how to manage the stress and the mental health that can be impacted as well.
Yeah, well, I guess I've never been a shy person.
Yeah,
And I don't care if anyone likes me or not,
yeah,
if I'm being myself,
yeah.
as long as I'm being myself.
Okay.
And, having a theater, acting background definitely helps. I've
Yes.
done a bunch of TV, I've been with a bunch of successful people. So that doesn't bother me. I think in the animal activism world, just like constantly being faced with like such cruelty is so difficult for me. Like I'm an actor because I can definitely absorb and take on other living beings feelings, situations, their circumstances. So like with animal activism it's really hard because I can, but usually it's very difficult for me to be like, okay, this is the job. Let me ignore this, focus on the mission. I'm like, and want to connect with the animals, and it's definitely taken a toll on me, and
Mm.
I've learned very much this year that like I need to find a healthier balance and know that
Yes.
like me just being myself aside from being like no excuse for animal abuse, like that also helps, like me just
Yes.
being silly or like, playing and showing off my puppies, like, and then we can have a conversation,
Yeah.
like the
Being
podcast gives
yourself.
me, exactly, the podcast gives me a space to talk about it, but still not feel so like, because once I'm yelling and then I'm like yelling at everything all day and I'm angry. I'm like, screw you, you're
Right.
stupid, So my mental health has taken a toll for sure, just because I care. And so I
Right.
think it's really important to tell anybody who wants to find their voice in activism to like find a healthy balance and like
Exactly.
know that you also don't have to suffer to
Correct.
convey the suffering of other beings.
Correct.
Some people are better at that than others. I'm not. I'm
Yeah.
not.
I actually did an interview with another vegan activist called Raquel, and her handle is My Vegan Lady, and she actually spoke about this. So she's like, I'm surrounded by non-vegans, but I don't want to feel isolated. I want them to, I will grant my friends and her husband the same, love that she does it with. So to protect her mental peace, she will make suggestions, and if the other person does not agree, just sort of let it go and say, oh, that's interesting. I really like that because it was a very kind approach. Because what I've realized also, Justina, would be great to have your thoughts as well. So the 2019-2020, we had quite a bit of a peak of the vegan movement. And then a lot of people have fallen off the bandwagon or lost interest. And I want to ensure that it actually goes on. What are your thoughts about that?
About there being a
Uh,
quote unquote fall.
yeah, not really a fall, but more like it. I think the movement was much more in its excitement a little bit earlier in 2020, and I feel like there are not enough of
Mm,
us anymore. That's what
mm,
I personally feel. Or we are
mm.
there and we're just sort of being more comfortable in our own skin. And also, vegan products have become much more accessible from non vegan companies as well. So maybe it's just an easier approach to things.
Yeah, it's hard to say just
Mm.
because in totality, I feel like the world has shifted dramatically on every level,
Correct.
since then.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell because we are not living in the same world as it was
As
in
it was. You're absolutely
2019.
bang on. Correct.
Uh, and I didn't get super, super vocally active in
Mm.
animal rights until like maybe 2022, twenty twenty
Ah, okay.
three. That I was like full, not like behind the
Oh,
scenes, like fully in the front.
right.
So like I don't necessarily feel that way. And
Right.
you're right, it's much more accepted. A lot of brands are like start off vegan, cruelty free off the bat, so it's more
Yeah.
accessible.
Yeah.
It I I feel like people are so overwhelmed,
Mm.
possibly by so many things that are going
Going on
on,
in the world.
that
Correct.
it may not feel like the animal rights message is as strong as it used to be because
Or
now,
as important according to a lot of people. Correct. I really
exactly,
like, yeah, I really think that you have some element of truth in there. But as long as I think we keep the movement alive, I think that's what it really matters at the end.
100%. We
Yeah.
just need to like know that like we are watering seeds,
Correct.
and maybe it's gonna take much longer for things
Yeah.
to blossom,
Correct.
but like to really believe that like to give people space to
Yes.
make that connection from their
Correct.
heart and mind,
Yes.
and translate that into the physical. Um, for me, as much as it's so nice for someone to be like, oh, because of your activism, I'm vegan now immediately. I know that for me personally, it took me over a decade to
Mm.
make a
Correct.
change. So
Correct.
like, and I'm super passionate, and I would
Yes.
never, so it's like sometimes people need some time to realize
I like that.
that their love can go deeper, and
Correct.
like there are no barriers, like there's nothing that society can convince you otherwise, like you're not gonna die, you're not gonna have like, you're not gonna be all of a sudden a weirdo. Like it's like trust the process, and now there's more evidence that you can thrive and
Yes.
survive on a
Yes.
vegan lifestyle. And so
Yes.
if we're comparing it to back then, I think we just need to give humans, as much as I'm not a human person, we need to give humans more grace
Right.
and
Love
more
that.
patience to come around and show
I
them
agree.
examples.
I agree. I agree. You with you on your posts, a lot of gratitude and spirituality comes up as well.
Mm.
Would you consider yourself a spiritual person?
For sure. I'm
Yeah.
definitely a spiritual person.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like when it comes to spirituality, I'm very, very open, but
Yeah.
also very basic. Like the
Mm.
basics. Like I'm like, we don't have to overcomplicate things. Like,
Correct.
don't harm, don't steal, be
Correct.
kind, be loving. I
Yes.
mean,
I
why
love
do
that.
we complicate things? And I do believe in like, you know, growth, like I have changed. I'm the same, but I've gotten better and I've changed so much. So like I do believe everyone is on a spiritual journey. It just takes a little bit of slowing down and reflection to realize where you are in that journey and how you can transcend even higher.
I agree. I agree. That's played an important part in how I work on the brand as well, for me as well. So I appreciate that. And I think as cruelty free advocates, I think we are genuinely, more spiritual, grateful, and also empathetic,
Mhm.
which sort of speaks to the cruelty free element. Okay. So now we're coming to the last round, which is called the rapid fire round. Okay. So you have to answer quickly. Okay, that's the
Oh
point.
Lord, that's a challenge. That's a challenge.
Okay, so you ready?
Okay, let's go.
Okay. Um, New York or LA?
Both bi-coastal. Wherever it's warmer.
Oh my gosh, I will take that answer. What is your go-to vegan comfort food?
Avocado, mangoes, and chickpeas with
Yum.
hot sauce. I'm like,
Okay, okay. So since you said that, mango or avocado?
mango.
Oh, me too. One word to describe veganism.
Unconditional love. Was that
Oh,
one?
I love that. I'll take it. The cause closest to your heart right now.
um, I don't know how to put it into words. Like, adopt, don't shop.
Oh, I love that. Um, the dream guest for your podcast.
Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish.
Oh, I love that. I love Billie Eilish. Best vegan meal you've had recently.
Ah, Jarrell's Better Burger. I just love that burger in New York. It's so amazing.
One thing you wish more people would understand about this lifestyle.
It's not selfish. It's selfless.
Yeah, love that. What is so that's sort of the rapid fire. So just to close, is what's next in your journey?
Um, for me, I don't know. I never know what's next, and
Hmm.
I think that's the beauty is that like there's nothing. I don't want to be attached to anything or have a specific thing in mind except for working more in the arts
Yeah,
and using that momentum to continue to show people how they can incorporate the vegan lifestyle in their
very
life. And
nice.
that if I could do it, they can do it. So the podcast is streaming out. The episodes are coming out weekly for just so you know that you can find on all streaming platforms. And then episode 2 of Green Goddesses should be coming out fairly soon. We go to Bali, and that's going to be completely different. I'm
Nice.
very excited to see that and to share that with everyone.
Very nice. So her handle is Justina. Feel free to follow her. She's excellent. She does a lot of fantastic work in activism. And thank you so much, Justina. It's been such an honor to
Oh, thank you so
have you on the
much.
live today.
Thank you for everything that you do. You make
Thank you.
fashion cool and not cruel.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Justina. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.